Well, you're kind of far away. We still should have. So let's do a little bit.
Pulling it slightly, because somebody said it may fall between the cracks.
It goes opposite.
What's that?
It goes opposite. It goes that way.
Oh, yeah. This is opposite. Well, it's usually when people are doing it, they're looking at themselves. So they do that.
Is anyone here next to you?
Nope, not too
Can
far.
you save it for me if I'm going to indicate when I have 30 seconds or something, or 5 seconds?
Yep, wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, that's confusing.
Can we fit all four at one time? Because the tables are too long.
What do you think should be trying to make it higher?
I think it depends on whether it's
So there's. So do you see this one over here? If you loosen it, there it's loosened. Now you can lift this up, this whole thing goes up, and then you can tighten it again. See?
I'm just making an executive decision.
Should we go a little higher, do you think?
No.
I think that's enough. Kind of like you can see the top. So I think we should still, even though we can kind of get most of the I think we should still whoever's Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it is? It's good?
Well, it's centered with like.
It's got to be off center because of the podium.
Yeah, it's not center, but it feels centered on the stage. Fine.
We'll have to watch the chair too. I heard it was late and it cracked, so actually you're going to go back that way. Maybe even it's late. You're still going back to chair. I think that would work. What do you think?
Now this is what people see. Now we're watching. But it's very low quality because I tend to like it.
Yeah, but the last one, she did it.
And now it's actually much more because it's a much more same kind of broadcast. Kind of here. So get that off.
We have another better.
Yeah, we did actually. And they that's the it's slow. So technically it's gonna get fast, and then I back to work.
How about a little bit more as far as you can go? Thanks, yeah, but you just can't have whatever. Yeah, that works.
Just cost a bottle of water.
I have to go to the water.
Ottawa Vanier. Well, a guy from the Captain's Voice. I didn't introduce myself. We'll chat later. Got your assistant here, I see too. You're in good shape.
Someone else out like
That milk is good.
Can we try to round it from
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, can we get you to take your seats, please? And candidates, would you please come to the front? Yellow, conservative, green, and blue.
Andre.
Bonsoir, bonsoir. S'il vous plaît, prenez votre siège. Please take your seats. Tu m'entends? C'est mieux? OK. Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue au Forum des candidats pour cette élection provinciale partielle pour Ottawa Vanier. Je m'appelle Chris Penton, je suis le président de l'association communautaire de Vanier. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the All Candidates Forum for the Ottawa Vanier's provincial by-election. My name is Chris Penton. I'm the president of the Vanier Community Association. Thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. An exciting time in Ottawa Vanier, to say the least. This evening's forum will further introduce you to the candidates, answer some of your questions, and hopefully encourage you to head out to the polls next Thursday. Before we get started, I'd like to take a few seconds to thank the organizing groups: Action Sandy Hill, Lower Town Community Association, Vanier Community Association, Overbrook Community Association, Sandy Hill Community Health Center, Lowertown Community Resource Center, Eastern Ottawa Resource Center, Vanier Community Resource Center, Ecology Ottawa, and potential and current business owners of Vanier. I'd also like to thank the many volunteers in the room. It's a mix of local residents and Ottawa University students, so thank you very much for giving your time as well. Maintenant, je voudrais présenter notre modérateur pour ce soir, Philippe Marcoux. À la barre de l'émission matinale d'ici Radio-Canada Première à Ottawa Vanier, Philippe possède une longue feuille de route en tant que journaliste et animateur, ayant notamment travaillé à Toronto puis à Montréal. Among other titles, Philippe holds a Master's in Law from the London School of Economics and Political Science, and has some of the most fantastic hair I've seen in a long time. Thank you, Philippe. As you will notice, Roger's at the back of the room. They will be airing this forum later on. Please check listings for that. Again, thank you, Philippe, for taking the time this evening. I wish you all a good forum.
Bonsoir tout le monde. I'm going to be like this annoying answering machine that speaks both languages all night. But I'm the only one who will have that advantage. So every will be asked in both French and English, and the candidates will get to pick what language they answer in. But it's their decision. They have a minute. I'll explain the process.
You hablas español?
So they will have 1 minute to answer. So if they want to do it 30 seconds aside, their choice. Alors donc, je vais faire même les phrases en français. Je vais être un répondeur automatique vraiment tannant. Je vais tout dire dans les deux langues ce soir et je vais poser toutes les questions dans les deux langues. Je vais traduire autant que faire se peut la question que vous allez poser, puisqu'il y aura une partie pour vous, et les candidats décideront dans quelle langue ils veulent répondre. Ils n'auront qu'une minute pour répondre à chacune des questions, mais s'ils veulent répondre dans les deux langues, ce sera leur choix.
Here we go, John Turmel. Yes, sir.
I made it!
Here we go. Call the police. John Turmel's here. So, John, you gonna take over the debate?
No.
John Turmel, candidate for the Commerce Party.
Poor people, yes.
Who, if my information is correct, was not invited to the forum tonight. That will be up to the organizers, I guess. Pardon me?
It wouldn't be fair. There's 11 candidates. We chose to invite the 4 major national parties. I'm sorry. I would like to ask you, please, sir, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I got a right to be here. I paid my money. I'm staying.
Is he on the ballot?
Yes.
Yes, he is. With 11 candidates, 4 of whom have been invited by the groups that organized this forum. And Mr.
There's 2 other women that were invited that were not here also.
Sorry, there is a number of community associated with we are covering the costs. I think you should have some of those groups who have looked at the history of this riding.
So I don't have respect for those groups.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's your opinion. We have 4 candidates. We're going to move on. The questions will be posed to the 4 candidates who were invited.
And you think I'm not going to answer?
Don't have them out to that.
So, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Turmel, you'd rather that this event doesn't take place.
Well, that's fair for everybody if that's so, but I'd rather it take place with the people who showed.
came on purpose to have my talk, I think you should let me speak. If the other guys didn't care enough to come, tough. He did.
I have nothing better to do tonight but be here.
I do. You can cope 2 chairs.
Fair enough.
Let the man say his piece.
This is rare when the audience speaks up. Congratulations.
This is Ottawa Vanier.
Let them stay. Let them stay. They showed up. They showed up. They showed up. They showed up. They showed up.
Try and get me on the ballot.
Yeah, the hat.
The end result, let's be clear, the end result is going to be fewer questions from the public. Because time is limited here.
I'm worth it.
I'm not, I can't live with, I don't have the margin to make this event last longer. So if we have more answers from more candidates, there will be fewer questions from the public.
John, if you're given your 2 minutes, will you exit the stage?
So let's just put the question to the floor. This is a democracy. Mr. Turmel thinks.
Don't think you're going to vote away my rights. So I'm not going to obey.
Does the audience want everybody, or do we move on with the 4 candidates?
Everybody.
Is that everybody for 4? Okay, and everybody now hands down for everyone, for all candidates?
Everybody.
That looks a very clear majority to me for 4. So I would ask you to respectfully step down.
You think you can vote away my rights, don't you? Well, you can't. You have a vote. You know rights, and you think I'm going to listen.
Well, that's a really great reaction, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And let's have this debate. What right exactly are you talking about?
Free speech.
The right to be on stage?
Free speech.
As if you didn't know what was going to happen.
Excuse me, sir. Look, let's get the show on the road. We're wasting time.
Call Jim Watson.
If we're going to direct our questions to one of the candidates, and this way they don't need to answer, so there should be no problem. If they get no answer, they don't answer, period.
Fair enough, we try that way. We don't have much of a choice. So the way this is going to happen is we have a few questions that have been given to me by the organizing groups. We will ask those. Each candidate will have, each of the 4 candidates that were invited, will have a minute to answer the question, each question. They have before them 5 pieces of cardboard that they can use to have a reply once every candidate has answered the question. That reply can only last for 30 seconds and will be used in case if they were called upon during another candidate's answer. Alors, je vais poser des questions qui m'ont été soumises par les groupes qui organisent la soirée. Chaque candidat va avoir 1 minute pour répondre à chacune des questions. Ils ont des cartons devant eux qu'ils vont pouvoir utiliser, ils en ont 5 chacun, qu'ils vont pouvoir utiliser pour avoir une réplique de 30 secondes, une fois que tous les candidats vont répondre à la question. We're going to do the same thing for your questions after the first 45 minutes or so. Then we'll take your questions. Each candidate will have a minute to answer the question. Then they will have another set of cardboard that they can use to have a reply if they so choose. Again, the language in which they will answer the question is up to them. So, candidates. I actually had a list of all the 11 candidates that I wanted to introduce to you, some of which are here apparently.
We'll be able to bow now.
Oh, well, if you want to bow, you.
So when you call my name.
I will. So amongst the other candidates that were not invited tonight, Kevin Clark from the People Party, Elizabeth Devielle Castel from the Stop the New Sex Ed Agenda Party, Dean T. Harris from the Libertarian Party, Stephanie McAvoy from the Canadian Constituents Party, David McGruer from the Freedom Party of Ontario, John Turnell from Powers Party, and none of the above from the None of the Above Party. Amongst the candidates that were invited, Mr. Claude Pisson from the New Democratic Party of Ontario, Nathalie Desrosiers from the Ontario Liberal Party, André Morin from the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, and Raphaël Morin from the Green Party of Ontario. Mesdames, Messieurs, each candidate will have now a minute and a half for an introductory statement, an opening statement. Chaque candidat va avoir 1 minute et demie pour faire une présentation initiale. On leur donnera aussi l'occasion de vous adresser la parole pendant 1 minute et demie à la fin de ce forum. We struggled with the order in which each candidate will be able to talk to you. We have to start with someone. So we'll start at this end and we'll start the closing statements at the other end. So, Mr. Marin.
Oui, merci. My name is André Marin. I am.
Pump it up.
Stand up, please. C'est bon. Ça va.
Oui, excuse-moi.
Voilà.
Merci, Claude.
Hey!
Bonsoir. Je m'appelle André Marin, je suis le candidat Parti progressiste conservateur ici à Ottawa Vanier. My name is André Marin. I am the PC representative for candidate for the Ottawa Vanier by-election next week. I've always lived in Ottawa. I graduated from the University of Ottawa's law school, both faculties. I was then an assistant crown attorney prosecuting crime. I was then the director of the Special Investigations Unit, investigating the police and laying charges when there was reasonable grounds to believe an offense was committed, when there was serious injury or death. I then was the ombudsman for the military, and for the last 10.5 years, I was the ombudsman for the province of Ontario. Thank you. Where I investigated complaints by members of the public against the province of Ontario. So I've always been in a position of public trust, often as a watchdog of government. And I've decided now to jump into the arena and seek your confidence and be elected to become a lawmaker as opposed to a watchdog. I believe that my career is one of upholding the public trust, defending the little guy. I have a track record of doing it for over 20 years, and I want to bring that fighting spirit to Ottawa Vanier so that I may remind the Wynne government that Ottawa Vanier is tired of being taken for granted, tired of the lack of interest in moving this constituency forward. This has been Liberal now for 50 years, and I think I can make a difference if I'm elected on November 17th. Thank you.
Yeah, let's see if this one works. Is that good? All right, excellent. I got to go. Perfect. Okay, my name is Claude Bisson. You're New Democratic candidate. I have 30 years with the RCMP. I've been retired for 5 years now. And I retired as Director General in charge of HR. I was Director in charge of information technology. I have a lot of experience as far as managing. At one point I had as many as 5,000 employees that I was responsible for, so I know a little bit about managing. I also have a previous 8 years in the military. I have Anyway, so that's my background. I got into this because, with all respect to Natalie, I am absolutely. I think we're going to be swapping this one back and forth, so it's no problem. Anyway, I'm absolutely, the reason I got involved and I presented myself as a candidate is I absolutely disagree with what's happening in our province. I absolutely disagree with the privatization of our hydro. I absolutely disagree that our education costs now, they're going to be, there's flipping on here, that our education costs are going to probably go up next year because there's a 2% cap on tuition fees that will be removed. And also healthcare. Healthcare is a big thing. So I've been going door to door now for 2.5 months. I was off the block in August this summer, and I've been talking to people at the door, and I'm hearing the same story over and over again. And that's it. I'm out of time. Well,
The candidates is here. It's going to have little
15 seconds.
yellow for 15 seconds
there
and
you are. Okay.
pinkish for when it's the end, right? Madame Desrosiers?
Alors, bonsoir. Mon nom est Nathalie Desrosiers et je suis la candidate libérale, votre candidate libérale. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir invitée à ce débat et c'est fabuleux de tous vous voir ici participer à la chose politique. Je suis la doyenne de Common Law à l'Université d'Ottawa. Toute ma vie, je me suis battue pour des causes d'intérêt public. J'ai travaillé pour le droit des francophones d'être servis dans leur langue. I work for women's right not to be abused. I work for the right to housing, the right to health care, and the right to equality. So I feel that I decided to come into politics so that I could make a difference from the inside, because I have a vision throughout my life to knock on doors of government, and I know it makes a difference who is in government. And we have had the privilege here in Ottawa Vanier to be well represented by Madeleine Meyer. I think she was someone that could listen, that solved issues, and that's what I want to build on this heritage, the ability to listen carefully, represent adequately, and fight at Queen's Park for the riding. That's my track record, both as a dean, but also as an advocate throughout my career. Ça me fait grand plaisir, évidemment. Moi, je vis et je travaille dans Vanier depuis plusieurs années. J'ai vraiment très envie de bien vous représenter. C'est le mandat que je me suis donné et c'est un peu l'engagement que je fais ce soir, de continuer d'être à l'écoute et de travailler fort et de bien livrer la marchandise. Merci.
Bonsoir, good evening. I'm Raphael Morin, the Green Party of Ontario candidate. I would like to thank the Knights of Columbus for providing the venue tonight, and to the community organizations and Ecology Ottawa for organizing this event. C'est avec grande fierté que je représente le Parti vert ainsi que ses valeurs. Sustainability and future focus is at the heart of our beliefs. Pour bâtir un futur prospère et durable, nous devons travailler en concert avec les opportunités que notre planète nous offre, comme exploiter les sources d'énergie renouvelables. We support small and medium businesses because they are the backbone to our economy. and because they allow income and profit to remain local. We are a bottom-top party rather than top-bottom. C'est en travaillant avec les communautés d'Ottawa Vanier que j'apprendrai à comprendre vos besoins pour vous représenter adéquatement à Queen's Park. Merci.
If I give you 2 minutes right now to address this crowd, will you let us go on with the event?
Yeah. Would you take that deal if they offered it to you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because you have no right to be on that stage, sir.
You're not anybody else you deserve. I don't.
We'll proceed with questions. We'll proceed with questions.
I want to say my speech.
Get off the stage, sir. You are not at the stage.
Joe! Joe! Get off the stage! My turn! Get off the stage! My turn!
Sir, this is a private event you have not been invited to.
It's my turn!
It's not.
My turn! No. My turn!
Let the dealer sit down.
Don't get upset, I'm gonna answer, or the meeting don't go on. My turn! Nobody, do you remember Ottawa's gambling crusader? You think you're gonna cheat me? You think you're gonna cheat me because you had a vote of the majority? You're gonna take away my rights?
Where's the police in this city? $280 million, and we can't put a cop in a room? Shame!
You need a badge for a gun.
$280 million, and we can't put a policeman in a room to take lunatics like that off the stage?
He's right. You need a policeman with a badge and a gun to get Jiu-Jitsu John off the stage. Go get a badge and a gun. You don't cheat me. Get it? So, you want to hear what I gotta say? Or you It's okay. I know the rules better than you do.
I beg to differ, sir.
Remember this one when the police came to take me away? Remember this one when the police came to take me away? I want my 2 minutes and 90 seconds. I want my 90 seconds. I want my 90 seconds. You need a badge and a gun, boys. Sorry, I ain't leaving. You need a badge and a gun. I got a right to answer. I want my 90 seconds. Come on, go get the guy with the badge and the gun. Not a routine. Go get the guy with the badge and the gun. It always takes a badge and a gun. Go get him. I don't mind. You want to run a crooked debate? Not let me speak? Get the badge and the gun. Please, lady, go away. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. All right? So, you need a badge and a gun, lady. I'm not talking to you. Go get a man with a badge and a gun. I want my name submitted. You have to answer the question. Sweetie, not now. I don't care. Get out of here, sweetie. We're not talking acid rain. Now get off the stage. Yes, sweetie. You need a badge and a gun. I got my 90 seconds. You want to stop me getting my 90 seconds? You need a gun. Go get it. Right? Come on. How many of you people see me do this before in the past? Right? Right? You got to bring a cop. Trespassing's not an indictable offense. So go get your cops, or let me speak. I want my 90 seconds.
Can I ask you what you're
I want my 90 seconds. Hey, you're a commie. Get out of here. Go back to Russia. Go back to Russia.
Police in this city. You know what's interesting?
How come the French people that have all the candidates, but the English guy can't vote? How come Afghal can invite us all, but he's too incompetent? How come Afghal and French Rogers could have us all, but he's too incompetent? Hey, they're all gone. They don't want to give you my 90 seconds. Oh, do tell. Shame on you. Shame on you in front of your kids, voting not to let one of the candidates speak. Shame on you. Oh, I've been speaking. You call this my...
You have no respect for people. 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 You have no respect for people.
SmartestManOnEarth.ca. Go check it out. Who else would take out SmartestManOnEarth.ca? What a grade 17 in science. And you want to listen to the lawyers. Talk about Ontario Hydro. Get electrical engineers. Get a lawyer to talk about hydro. Yes, sir. My 90 minutes, it cannot allow it. Call off the meeting rather than let me have my 90 seconds. You can watch on French Rogers if you want to see how I am normally when you don't cheat me. But if you want to come on argue to cheat me, then go away. Hey, go away, femboy. I got nothing to do. You got no balls. You take this. You would let them kick you off a debate when you're a candidate. Go away, femboy. You're dealing with an alpha male here. Go away, femboy. You can let them push you around. Not me. That's right. Nobody cheats me without fighting. You're a bunch of cheats. The people who voted not to let me speak, you're a bunch of cheats. Crooks. Shame on you. 90 seconds is all I wanted. Is it that bad? You get to go see the French debate. Anyway, 90 seconds. I just want my chance to speak. And you just can show.
Give you 5 minutes.
Appreciate the chance to yell. Jeez. Okay, I'm going to do my presentation. This is Ontario's debt. This is the debt of Ontario where you're paying debt service for it. Before 1974, it was pretty well zero. And in 1974, the debt started to grow. Here is the national debt. I know, but before 1974, it was always 20 billion. But after 1974, the debt started to grow. What happened in 1974 that cost you all 70 grand? Come on, where's the place? Yes, sir. Jesus, imagine how they let this get out of control. I always do this. I always make them bring a badge if they're going to cheat me. Don't they remember? How many times have I been arrested? I'm the most arrested candidate in
Ladies and gentlemen, if I
history.
could ask you to remain here. Police has been called. We will get ready to turn out, and then we'll continue with the event. So please don't leave. Mesdames et messieurs, si vous avez demandé de rester dans la salle, on va commencer dès qu'il est possible de se débarrasser de M. Turmel. Merci.
Come back to Russia, sir. Let's crack. Wow, you mean like this cop here? You escorted me out of the premises? Oh, you mean like this cop here? Oh, Jesus, it's nothing new. To answer the question too. Bye, buddy.
No trespassing. Now also wasted.
All right, well, you think this is going to be a boring evening. Can I ask the candidates who were invited to come back on stage? J'espère que M. Morin va quitter. M. Morin, est-ce que vous êtes là? M. Morin, là?
Merci tout le monde pour avoir resté. Vous étiez très patients. Ça fait une couple de minutes.
That would be a shame. I can't see Mr. Morin. There you are. Very good. Thank you. Particulièrement désagréable comme événement, surtout que c'est exactement ce que M. Turmel voulait que se passe. Alors, on va procéder aux questions. Et donc, la première question, bien entendu, on va prolonger l'événement d'une demi-heure. On va finir vers 9h30. À moins que les candidats aient une objection, là, non. So this event will last a half hour late, and then we'll be able to proceed to the whole event. First question. The urban streets of Lower Town and Sandy Hill have served as a major interprovincial truck route since 1965, with 2,600 transport trucks rumbling through residential areas each day. During peak periods, a truck passes through every 20 seconds. Several efforts to find an alternative. How will you focus efforts and implement a solution?
Les camions lourds passent par les rues de la Basse-Ville et de la Côte de Sable depuis 1965. 2600 camions passent par ces quartiers résidentiels chaque jour, soit un camion pour 20 secondes en période de pointe. Plusieurs tentatives pour trouver une solution à ce problème se sont soldées par un échec. Que prévoyez-vous faire pour identifier et mettre en place une solution? Je vais commencer avec M. Bisson, puis on poursuit comme ça, puis on changera de temps.
Oui, c'est parfait. Qu'est-ce qui se passe présentement? C'est que on pense de faire le tunnel pour passer le trafic en dessous. Je sais qu'il y a du pavage présentement, peut-être un pont encore, mais c'est pas fini. So as far as I'm concerned, I support getting better traffic going north-south in Ottawa. To the downtown, for example, because we've lost 3 cyclists so far this year downtown from people being hit by trucks. It's dangerous. There's all kinds of traffic going through, heavy traffic going through. So I definitely support the tunnel, and there's going to be an environmental assessment for about $750,000 that will be done before it goes, and there will be some public consultation to ensure that we look after the needs of the people.
Alors, je rappelle aux candidats que Liz ici a un carton rose quand votre temps de réponse est terminé.
C'est 30 secondes pour les réponses. 30 secondes.
Certainly, I think it's a very important issue. It's a question of safety for citizens, and we have to do something about it. I can confirm tonight that indeed the province is committed to paying its share on the environmental assessment so that it goes on and we move to finding a solution within our lifetime. So we need to go quickly on this. It has been there for too long. We really need durable, qui soit efficace rapidement.
Parfait.
I do agree that removing the trucks from our downtown streets is an important priority for our city. Long-term unaddressed infrastructure is a problem in the city of Ottawa. However, there must be a lot of more community consultation before this proposal or any proposal goes forward.
You're here.
Thank you.
Yes, well, I just heard tonight.
Here we go again.
It's great we just heard tonight, the Liberal candidate announced that she can confirm tonight. So it seems that the only time they can make decisions is when they're by-elections. We should have more. What's happened to the King Edward is just a complete sign of neglect. It shows a lot of what's happened in the rest of the market. Things are withering away, being neglected by politicians that are not interested in betterment of the market in Quebec.
Drain the swamp!
We've been, market has been overtaxed, overcharged on hydro, neglected by politicians, and I welcome change.
Next question. Given that more walkable and bike-friendly cities face less congestion, less sprawl, lower levels of air pollution, and enhanced levels of physical activity, and given that the province plays a major role in how this infrastructure is built and funded, what would you do to ensure that our streets are safe and designed in a way that encourages more walking and cycling? Attendu qu'une ville où il est plus facile de marcher et de circuler en vélo est une ville où il y a moins de problèmes de congestion, moins de problèmes de pollution, moins d'étalement urbain, où la population fait plus d'exercice physique, et attendu que la province joue un rôle important dans la construction et le financement de ces infrastructures, que prévoyez-vous faire pour vous assurer que nos rues sont sécuritaires et organisées pour encourager la marche et l'utilisation du vélo? Madame Desrosiers.
Mais certainement, c'est une solution que moi je préconise et que je favorise pour différentes raisons. Pour commencer, on a des investissements qui doivent être faits. Il faut travailler avec la municipalité, évidemment, pour s'assurer que tout s'est fait. We want to have a world-class city that is there for our citizens, that is modern, that reflects the best ways in which we allow people to be active, and that responds also to our concerns about the winter. So we have to work together, but this is a priority. We need to ensure that it's safe for cyclists as well.
Le Parti vert reconnaît l'importance d'un moyen de transport propre pour les communautés. Alors, le Parti vert reconnaît l'importance de divers moyens de transport pour ne pas se fier à un seul comme les voitures, puisque ça crée de la congestion et ça peut être dangereux. Alors, on créerait peut-être des allées pour les cyclistes et les piétons, et puis on pourrait aussi inaugurer des camions pour protéger les cyclistes contre les gros camions.
Very important component to urban development. It strikes me though that the way it's happening in Ottawa, it seems to have not been done with proper integration with the rest of traffic and proper consultation and getting the expertise that's required. You know, how many accidents with collisions between vehicles and bikes have we seen in the last few weeks? So somebody's dropped the ball. So I think we should move in that direction, but we should be doing it, having all stakeholders consulted and having a plan that makes it work and does not lead to further people getting injured.
Bonjour. We need to invest in transit to reduce traffic and increase choices for transportation, not making just the 417 wider. As I said a little while ago, we're looking at a tunnel, but we also need to look at north-south traffic in Ottawa Vanier. That's my personal opinion on it. We need to help to restore the economy to reduce greenhouse gases. So the LRT is going to work for us in that vein. And also, everyone deserves equal access to affordable, reliable, and frequent transit. So that's where I stand with that.
Monsieur Morin voulait avoir un droit de réplique, 30 secondes.
I do recognize that. Well, thank you. So I do recognize that the municipality of Ottawa does try to inaugurate new ways to facilitate cyclists, but I think that the province regulations are outdated. So we would work with the city level to see what was needed to accelerate the process of updating the current conditions.
Troisième question. La densification est devenu le mot-clé pour justifier de nombreuses décisions de planification urbaine sans qu'on se préoccupe des aspects distinctifs du quartier et sans plan pour préserver des communautés diversifiées, des logements abordables et le patrimoine architectural. Par conséquent, les groupes communautaires et les résidents doivent jouer un rôle plus important dans cette prise de décision en urbanisme. Comment pensez-vous qu'on peut atteindre cet objectif? Intensification has become a buzzword used to justify countless urban planning decisions with little regard for neighborhood character and no plan to maintain diverse communities, provide affordable housing, or preserve our built heritage. As such, community groups and residents want more input on these planning decisions. How would you propose to do this? Mr. Morin.
Affordable housing is something that the Green Party does certainly support. Everybody has a right to have a roof over their heads, and because we understand that it does increase their quality of life and will help them get on their feet to get a job and contribute to the economy. So this is something we certainly do endorse.
Successful urban planning requires that all stakeholders be consulted, that all interests be weighed before decisions are taken. And that means municipal, counselors, it means the police, it means the provincial government, it means small business owners, so that a cohesive solution is arrived at. If elected, I plan on creating a task force where all stakeholders will be consulted and recommendations will be made as to the best way to proceed forward. For too long now, municipal council, provincial politicians, and others have not properly consulted and listened to people in Ottawa Vanier. I will.
Revitalization of commercial streets is a key to doing it and to reduce urban sprawl. Also in our housing, our province needs to invest in new affordable housing, repair existing substandard housing, which is very important. Ontario right now we need to set attainable goals to increase affordable housing for those who need it. Right now, and I'll just read this, Ontario has 71,360 families on a waiting list for affordable housing. Over 45,000 households in 12 years. Seniors account for 32%. Seniors account for 32%. I think we just killed all the lights. I get my 15 seconds?
You get 15 seconds, no matter.
Okay, I'll get my 15 seconds.
There's nothing like a wire.
Exactly. Thank you. Now we're cooking the gas. This one works. All right. Anyway, just to finish, I was saying seniors account for 32% of the waiting list itself, which is inexcusable. Seniors wait on an average 4.4 years for housing. 75% increase over 4 years. So I definitely think that needs to be looked at for housing.
The shade.
Absolument, je pense que depuis le début, on se rend compte que la question du logement, du droit au logement, c'est une question cruciale dans cette campagne, mais c'est une question cruciale pour moi aussi. This is why I'm going into politics, is because I did realize how much the affordable housing should be a priority and has to be a priority for Ottawa Vanier. Not only because of the statistics, but also because we live with it every day. We see the dangers and we see how much people are vulnerable people are affected by the lack of housing. The other part of the question was about investing in our community, ensuring revitalization, and I think what we need, we already have within our community iterations. Great ideas have come up during the course of these consultations, and I think we need to continue and move forward to try to liberate the spirit of investment in Ottawa Vanier and the pride that we all have in our community.
So what? You had 20 years.
So can I ask you not to heckle? This is no fun. Next question. Ottawa Vanier est une base importante pour la francophonie en Ontario et une région où l'on constate vraiment l'importance d'offrir des services en français. Conséquemment, appuyez-vous l'idée de faire de la ville d'Ottawa une ville officiellement bilingue? Et que proposez-vous pour inverser le déclin de la population francophone dans Ottawa Vanier? Ottawa Vanier is an important base of the francophonie in Ontario and an area that demonstrates the importance of providing French language services. With this in mind, do you support making the city of Ottawa officially bilingual? And what would you do to reverse the trend of a declining francophone population in Ontario? C'est vrai que je m'aperçois que j'ai traduit Ontario, Ottawa Vanier. Remarquez que le déclin est dans les deux cas. Monsieur Marais.
Le Parti progressiste conservateur appuie évidemment la proposition que Ottawa arrive une ville officiellement bilingue. Si le conseil municipal prend la décision, le conseil le veut. Donc il s'agit du vœu du conseil municipal. Deuxièmement, le problème avec le déclin de la langue française ici à Ottawa Vanier, en Ontario, comme vous dites, il y a plusieurs choses qui doivent être faites. Tout d'abord, on on veut qu'il y ait de l'immigration de 5% de pays de langue française. Et puis, le gouvernement a manqué, le gouvernement libéral a manqué d'avoir du succès à être à 5%. La raison, c'est que ici, en Ontario, on ne donne pas les mesures nécessaires pour appuyer cet objectif-là. On lance l'objectif, on parle de l'objectif, mais on ne met pas en place ce qui est nécessaire pour pouvoir arriver à cet objectif-là. C'est la raison pour laquelle on n'a pas réussi ici en Ontario.
Suffisant. C'est certain que je supporte qu'Ottawa devrait être une ville bilingue. C'est la capitale du Canada et pour moi, c'est honteux que notre ville n'est pas officiellement bilingue. Si vous le savez, France Génina aussi a fait beaucoup d'ouvrages, du Parti démocrate, pour essayer d'amener une université française en Ontario. On a présentement 450 écoles primaires et secondaires en français. Ça prend une place pour amener les jeunes, pour leur donner une place pour poursuivre leur éducation en français. Alors, pour moi, c'est certain que je supporte que Ottawa devrait être bilingue et pas juste présentement, on a des services bilingues, mais en le mettant officiel, c'est certain qu'on va faire certain qu'on regarde le futur pour les francophones ici à Ottawa Vanier et aussi en Ontario.
Merci beaucoup. Moi aussi, je me suis déclarée personnellement bien impliquée et convaincue qu'Ottawa devrait être une ville bilingue. C'est sa responsabilité, c'est la capitale nationale, c'est la capitale du Canada. Elle bénéficie évidemment des avantages d'être la capitale du Canada. Elle doit aussi célébrer l'héritage francophone. Je pense qu'on doit continuer de maintenir les belles institutions francophones qu'on a dans Ottawa Vanier. L'hôpital Montfort, vous savez tous que l'hôpital Montfort avait été coupé, voulait être coupé par les conservateurs la dernière fois. Alors, on veut vraiment garder nos belles institutions, la nouvelle scène, l'hôpital Montfort et continuer de développer l'offre active qui existe. Finalement, sur la question de l'immigration francophone, c'est une responsabilité. Ottawa Vanier fait bien ça, accueillir des immigrants, elle va continuer de le faire. Et un des enjeux, c'est probablement de regarder comment on peut bien accueillir les étudiants francophones internationaux qui doivent être bien accueillis au Canada. Il y a tout un bassin ici pour accueillir plus d'immigrants. Merci.
Oui, certainement. Je suis également d'accord que la ville d'Ottawa devrait être officiellement bilingue parce que, premièrement, la culture francophone a joué un rôle important dans l'histoire de notre société au Canada. Et puis, deuxièmement, le Parti vert croit fermement au traitement équitable de tous les Ontariens et Ontariennes. Et puis, ceci comprend le fait de se faire servir dans les langues officielles du Canada. Les francophones devraient se faire servir dans leur langue de préférence, tout comme les anglophones. Alors moi, je travaillerai en concert avec le commissariat aux services en français afin d'améliorer l'accès aux services de français partout en Ontario. Bravo.
En 2012, le gouvernement libéral établit que 5% de l'immigration devrait venir des pays francophones. On a réussi qu'à remplir cet objectif-là entre 2 et 3%, parce qu'on n'a pas mis en place les mesures nécessaires. Le gouvernement aurait pu le faire, mais il ne l'a pas fait. Deuxièmement, la loi sur les services en français en Ontario a maintenant 30 ans. 30 ans, les libéraux sont au pouvoir, ils n'ont jamais révisé la loi, elle n'est pas moderne. Le commissaire à la langue française en Ontario nous a dit qu'en mois de juin qu'il fallait revoir la loi. Le gouvernement ne s'intéresse pas du tout, n'appuie pas les francophones en Ottawa Vanier.
J'aimerais répondre à ça parce que, évidemment, pour la refonte de la loi 8, moi, je suis impliquée dans un colloque le 18 novembre pour regarder à la refonte de la loi 8. Alors, je suis d'accord qu'elle doit être réévaluée et donc, on doit le faire de façon proactive. Et finalement, je voudrais peut-être mettre quelques remarques. On a 96 000 immigrants francophones qui sont arrivés en Ontario vis-à-vis de 16 000 qui sont arrivés au Manitoba. Alors, on a encore du chemin à faire, mais on doit être prêt à accueillir et à célébrer le fait que 96 000 nouveaux immigrants francophones sont arrivés en Ontario récemment.
Next question. We'll take your questions in the second round. Next question. Ottawa City Council unanimously adopted a revitalization plan for the historic Vanier Market, second most visited tourist destination in Ottawa. But the $10 million cost of implementing this plan remains virtually unfunded. Do you support the provincial government giving matching funds so we can do for Vanier Market what New York did for Times Square? La Ville d'Ottawa a adopté à l'unanimité le plan de revitalisation de l'historique marché Vanier, la deuxième destination touristique la plus visitée à Ottawa. De fonds qui ont été prévus pour couvrir le coût de 10 millions de dollars de ce projet. Est-ce que vous croyez que le gouvernement provincial doit contribuer des fonds équivalents pour qu'il soit possible de faire du marché Vanier ce que New York a fait avec Times Square? Et je vais commencer, je pense qu'on est rendu avec M. Marin à nouveau.
I think for sure that the province should invest in the Vanier market. It should pay its share of the revitalization. Right now, the Vanier market is in need of a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. It is dying, suffocated by skyrocketing hydro costs, courtesy of Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals. It's overtaxed and neglected by local politicians. If you look at businesses such as butchers like Saslaw's Market, who I visited in the last few weeks, their electricity bill went from $10,000 to $50,000. No other butchers in the market now. There used to be 8. Businesses are suffocating, they're dying, they're calling up for help. They should get help.
We got one that's not working again. Reset. Okay, having fun with the notes here. They seem to work for Andre, but not me. The revitalization of Montreal Road should have been done a long time ago, but the Liberals have been asleep at the wheel on this one. I first will put a priority on investment in Ottawa Vanier. I will help small businesses and increase security in some of the areas. All 3 levels of government need to invest in Ottawa Vanier. An NDP member can make the project happen. My brother has gotten the roads and hospitals built in Timmins, and he's done that in 27 years as an opposition member, and he's managed to build hospitals, build bridges, fix roads. So I can go and I can get the funding and make it happen. The Vanier market revitalization also, after Montreal needs its investment for the hub, the Vanier market has important business and can be a tourism hub for Ottawa. I think that Ottawa Vanier is a small gem in this riding, and it needs development and it needs funding.
Que Ottawa Vanier, c'est une pierre précieuse dans la ville d'Ottawa et on doit continuer d'investir pour s'assurer que les commerces et le tourisme et la communauté est bien servi. It seems to me that thank you for raising the issue of hydro here. I think we know that there are some issues about the hydro prices. You know that there are some programs that are available for different businesses and reductions that's coming in place. I think we should commit all members here that if we hear about the hydro bad stories, we tell people about the existing programs so that they become aware of it. And if not, then let's make sure that this is well done so that people can get help. But I'm certainly committed to this contribution. 2017 is a unique opportunity for Ottawa to shine, and I think it's a unique opportunity to ask that they be good investment to celebrate la Confédération.
I hope it does shine because we can't afford to keep the lights on.
Please.
So yes, I would also agree because one of the Green Party's values is community-based economies. So I understand that the byward market is very important for tourism and for the economy at the municipal level. Furthermore, I would seek to employ small and local businesses. Thank you.
Next question. Par contre, c'est vrai, il y a deux de droits de réplique, monsieur Ryan. The Liberal candidate has acknowledged that there are quote issues with hydro prices. The understatement of the century. Hydro prices on average have risen $1,000 for the last 5 years. It's absolutely out of control. I don't know if you caught the latest ads being run, the partisans ad being run by the Liberals with your money, but they're saying that for a family of 4 people making less than $39,000, they're prepared to give you a rebate of $34 a month. Shame!
Killing the province!
Thank you.
How much do you pay in hydro?
Just on the hydro thing, as far as I'm concerned, both the Liberals, neither the Conservatives have anything to say about it. Privatization started with Mike Harris and continued with Dalton McGuinty and also with Kathleen Wynne. They privatized our hydro, and that's why we have the rates we have today. There's no excuse for it.
I'm in jail!
There's absolutely no excuse for it. So I've been going door to door, and I've been hearing horror stories, and that's the main story I've been hearing at the door.
Two things that have to be made clear. Certainly, I think the privatization or the expansion of ownership in Ontario Hydro has nothing to do with the prices because it's not the same entity that fixes the price. Nevertheless, I am the price. So, but I agree that the type of support that is given, I've seen it. I agree that probably there's lots more work to do, and that's why I want to go to Queen's Park to make sure that we actually deliver better services on that score.
There's another challenge is that the CEO of Hydro One in Ontario makes 8 times more than the CEO of Quebec.
Shame!
While the province of Ontario provides twice as less energy than Quebec.
And whose friend is he?
Liberal math! Liberal math!
And also, the prices of hydro may keep increasing in the next decade by maybe 130% because we're planning to renovate the nuclear facilities. So the Green Party of Ontario says no to that because we cannot take any rising of the prices of hydro.
Social services agencies, including those that provide mental health and addiction treatment, are finding themselves woefully underfunded. At the same time, they have increasing need of their services and more complex cases. What would you do to increase such funding and ensure stability in the future? Les agences de services sociaux, dont celles qui offrent des services d'aide pour la santé mentale et le traitement des dépendances, sont aux prises à la fois avec des ressources financières insuffisantes, une demande accrue pour leurs services et des cas de plus en plus complexes. Que proposez-vous de faire pour augmenter leur financement et assurer la stabilité de ce financement? Subissant.
I think we'll just won't stay there much. We need to stop the Liberal cuts of our services and workers. As far as I'm concerned, that is inexcusable. We believe that funding must be, at the very least, keep up with inflation. As you know, our hospitals have not been funded for the last 4 years, and well, to 1%, which is essentially hasn't kept up with inflation. We have a 20% requirement that's come into our hospitals. Right now, we're running at 100% capacity in our hospitals. That is inexcusable. I was talking to a doctor the other day, the Ontario Medical Association, and he was telling me he's an emergency doctor, and all he has is 20 beds for emergencies. That's why we wait so long in our waiting rooms. There is no room and no capacity in our hospitals. Clients in Ottawa are facing wait times of 2.5 months in home occupancy therapy care. That needs to be fixed, and funding needs to be fixed.
Certainement. Les questions de soins de santé, d'accès à la santé sont cruciales pour une communauté qui se veut en santé, qui veut contribuer. There's tough choices to be made in the healthcare. More and more, I think we want to ensure that people have the care that they need at home. So there's been investment in personal care support workers so that people, instead of going to the hospital, stay longer in their homes. I think that's a good idea. The idea of ensuring that the decisions are made at the local level and not only in Toronto. Toronto doesn't know what the Ottawa people want. So I think that's a move in the right direction. I agree. There's lots more to do on healthcare. This is going to be the challenge of our generation and the future generation. We're an aging population. We need to consult widely, but also take some tough decisions. And I think that's exactly where we will all have to work together and ensure that all participants are well heard. And I also had the chance to meet with the OMA this week, understanding better their concerns.
We missed you at the committee. So once again, the Green Party is a bottom-top and not a top-bottom party. So that means that we would work with the local constituents to understand the needs and the challenges. That being said, I would totally support more than inflation in terms of funding for diversion programs for youth, for example, and we're also addiction treatment centers, and for harm reduction facilities such as safe injection sites. It's going to happen no matter what, so we might as well help it happen in a safe fashion and help them recover rather than working against them.
Monsieur Valère, vous voulez oui, Monsieur Valère. Non, c'est pas parler encore, c'est vrai.
Mulford doctors have told me that they have never been treated worse than any government than how they've been treated by the Liberal government right now of Kathleen Wynne. 4 years of frozen hospital budgets. And the question was about mental health. Well, look at the Royal Ottawa Hospital, losing 18 jobs in 2015. And then suffering a $4.2 million shortfall in its budget. So you have the Liberal candidate with all these great ideas. Well, they've been there for 13 years. What have they done about the problem?
Nothing.
Paid their cronies.
Suddenly we're having a debate, and there's all these fresh ideas, and on November 18th, I'm going to have a meeting. Because I think they feel that the citizens of Ottawa Vanier are realizing that you're tired of being taken for granted.
Alors, la prochaine question. C'est bien, monsieur Toussaint? Je pense que tout le monde a parlé sur cette question. D'accord. Many small businesses and community initiatives are trying to make a difference in their neighborhoods, including places such as Montreal Road. They are trying to bring new life to neglected areas and to repurpose heritage buildings, but there is no funding to help stimulate such investments. What would you do to support projects aiming to rejuvenate neighborhoods? Plusieurs petites entreprises et organismes communautaires tentent de faire une différence dans leur quartier en essayant de redonner vie à des secteurs négligés en trouvant de nouvelles utilisations pour des édifices patrimoniaux, comme sur Montreal Road, par exemple. Mais il n'existe pas de financement pour aider ces initiatives. Que proposez-vous pour appuyer ces projets de relance de quartier? Et on va commencer, je pense, par Mme Desrosiers.
Certainement, on a bien entendu dans le conseil l'idée de revitaliser le chemin Montréal, qu'il y a beaucoup d'énergie et qu'il y a beaucoup d'idées pour de nouveaux commerces qui voudraient s'installer là. I think the role of the provincial government is to coordinate with the municipality and support that in a way that would aim to recreate on Vanier what it is, which is to give it its true identity. So there are artists that came to talk to me about wanting to do something on Montreal Road. There's some local businesses that have lots of good ideas. So it's about time, I think, that we create the forum. Again, I think 2017 is a good time to celebrate qu'est-ce que Ottawa Vanier, qu'est-ce que Vanier a donné à la ville d'Ottawa. I think it's important that we create the framework to support, create the right incentives for the local businesses to participate and to be heard in a process of revitalization.
So the Green Party understands that small and medium businesses are the central driver to our economy. And also more the incomes and profit remain in the community, which is very important. Small businesses also are very flexible. They have a flexible nature, which allows them to respond to the ever-changing environmental and market demands before large corporations take action. During the last recession, the small businesses are the ones who created jobs. So what the Green Party would do is that we would provide more tax cuts to support small businesses and entrepreneurs and clean technology companies. An investment tax credit for clean technology companies is one of the sectors that is global. Thank you.
On parle de relance du quartier, de rebâtir Ottawa Vanier. Pourquoi avons-nous cette discussion ce soir? C'est parce que pour 50 ans, Ottawa Vanier a été négligé par les libéraux. On n'aurait pas besoin d'avoir cette discussion-là si Ottawa Vanier n'avait pas été négligé. I intend to launch a task force in which we will community leaders, the police, those who are stakeholders of Ottawa Vanier to gather ideas on how to move forward. Solutions won't happen simply by throwing them in a 30-second answer and a debate. Answers will come out of a proper, thorough review of the matter that involves all stakeholders so that we have a cogent plan that is strong and meets everybody's needs and ensures that Ottawa Vanier will never be neglected again.
Well, first of all, we have to give our businesses a break by curbing expensive hydro rates. I think that's the first goal. I've been, like I said, I've been to some of our business communities. I've met with some of our business leaders. Walked into a store the other day, actually two of them, where the fellow at the back of the counter was wearing a winter coat and turned the heat off because they couldn't afford to heat their business. So as far as I'm concerned, we have to stop the sell-off of Hydro One. Electricity prices are the #1 issue that I'm hearing when I go door to door. The other thing that we proposed in our last platform is to create a minimum wage of $15 an hour. That's going to help for poverty. Those people will go out and they will spend. We're also going to partner with the small businesses who, by the way, create most of the jobs in this province by reducing taxes by 1.5% and giving an incentive of $5,000 for every new job that's created.
C'est certainement pas, moi, j'ai pas l'intention de négliger Ottawa Vanier. Alors, ce que je veux suggérer ce soir, c'est qu'il y a déjà dans la communauté tellement d'efforts et tellement d'idées qu'on doit mettre de l'avant. I agree that the consultation with the local councillors is important to ensure that a good plan is put in place. But more interestingly, I think I would also want to invite the community leaders that exist. We have a multicultural community in Vanier. It has to be brought into the table here to decide what it's going to look like. What is the essence of Vanier? The great gift that it has given to Ottawa.
And the last question from the community groups. Une fuite dans le projet de l'électrique énergie Est pourrait avoir des conséquences catastrophiques pour les rivières et d'eau, le Mississippi et des Outaouais, et causer des dommages irréparables à notre environnement et mettre à risque nos sources d'eau potable, sans mentionner les émissions de gaz à effet de serre dues à la production de ce pétrole qui serait l'équivalent des gaz émis par 7 millions de voitures. Quelle est votre position sur ce projet de l'électrique énergie Est? A spill from the proposed Energy East pipeline could have catastrophic impacts on the Rideau, Mississippi, and Ottawa rivers, cause irreparable harm to ecosystems, and put Ottawa's drinking water at risk, not to mention that associated crude production would generate greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to 7 million cars. What is your position on the proposed pipeline? Et on va commencer avec M. Morin.
The Green Party of Ontario opposes to the idea of Energy East because we can no longer afford climate change. The greenhouse emission concentrations are already to the limit. We can no longer afford to add more. It's causing all kinds of problems, including climate change that causes catastrophes that cost us a lot of money to fix. We cannot afford to contaminate the water we depend on. There's contamination, that means that we are directly affected. We will have to go to the store to get bottled water. We can't afford to kill biodiversity. We rely on biodiversity for the resilience of our planet, including our local environment. We don't notice it, but we rely on this biodiversity. This pipeline would go through Baxton Conservation Area. If there's a spill, it would destroy this area. And this area that took a long time to create itself, we can't just fix it with money. Also, this Energy East pipeline will not bring money to the province. We're simply a corridor. It's going to give money to Alberta and to the larger companies.
The Progressive Conservative Party supports the initiative of Energy East. It will represent significant economic development and benefit to the region. The project would provide the province 4,200 new jobs during development construction and nearly 1,400 jobs in operation, according to the Conference Board of Canada. It's an important, significant measure that will help the community build and develop. But it must be done right, and it must be done with proper safeguards in place. But if we're always picking worst case scenarios as opposed to seeing the benefit, we'd still be going around this province in a horse-drawn carriage. So we need to accept that development is good. Development that provides a solid job and economical benefits should be supported by the community.
Energy East, without proper environmental assessment, a stringent safety guideline, and no pipeline should be built under those conditions. The Harper government gutted the Federal Environment Act in 2012, so the provincial government has a duty to fill that gap. We will. The NDP will ensure that that gap is filled. Now, let's face it, we got to move oil somehow, whether it's on trains. Lac Mégantic is a good example of that. You want to move it on ships. You can talk about the Amoco Cadiz that ran aground and polluted a huge swath of the Mexican, the Bay of Mexico, and also, trucks. I mean, there have been accidents. So I do support that we need to move the oils. We need to move oil pipelines. Okay. I do not agree that they should be running under our water systems. It's too dangerous.
This is a give an example of the difference between liberal and conservative values. We ought not to do an energy east that does not fulfill the following conditions. That number one, there's been proper consultation as well with and full consultation with the Aboriginal communities that are affected. We should not do it if it presents any danger to environmental environmental degradation, and it should be done in a way, and it should not be done unless these conditions are absolutely guaranteed. You know, I think we have to arrive at this with wanting consultations and wanting to make sure that we do not undermine the communities and the environment for the province for the future to help.
I have a question for all three candidates. None of you have addressed the greenhouse emissions. Let me explain to you how this works. There are molecules in the atmosphere that trap the heat, and that causes the warming of the Earth. The warming of the Earth is very sensitive, okay? The rise of 1 degree of the water affects the whole ecosystems that we rely on. So I'm asking you, how is this a good idea? If we're already achieved the limit, why is it a good idea to add more to the atmosphere? And also,
there's a new word that seems to have entered the vocabulary of the Liberals, and it's called consultation. They discovered that word after the Scarborough Rouge River by-election where they lost. It was traditionally Liberal forever, and then Kathleen Wynne, her first comment was, well, maybe we should start listening to the people.
yeah.
And now this by-election, Liberal candidate says the word, we need to consult. Consultation is not part of the lexicon of Liberals. And if it takes by-elections to remind the Liberals of the need to consult with the public, but maybe we should have more of it than just this one. If there's ever been a good reason to vote PC, it's now. Because this will send a message to Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals that you're tired of being taken for granted, you want to be consulted, and you're fed up with Liberal arrogance in Ottawa Vanier.
Vous avez tous été extraordinairement disciplinés. You were very well behaved. Congratulations. And that will leave us plenty of time for questions from the public. I'm guessing we're going to ask them to go to the mic. Yes, if you could line up. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to do this. We're going to do this until 9:20, right? And the reason I'm telling you this is that I don't want to be a judge here. I don't want to decide who gets to ask a question. We are going to take as many questions as we can until 9:20. After that, it'll be over. Alors, on va prendre les questions jusqu'à 9h20. À 9h20, ce sera la fin de la période des questions, peu importe combien de questions on a eu. Cela, c'est une période de questions, pas une période de commentaires. Alors, je vous demanderai de poser une question et je vais être très intransigeant. So this is a question period, not a comment period. Please ask a question, and I will not let you go on with a comment. We agree?
30 seconds.
Okay.
Please tell them
30
it's 30
seconds.
seconds. 30 seconds, and I'll also
If
show
you need that much to ask a question. And each candidate will, again, have a minute to answer.
My name is Heather Stetcher, and I'm one of the thousands.
Excuse me, I can't hear you very well. Can we increase the...
It's on.
It is. Okay, go ahead.
It is. I can hear it. not on. I don't know. I was scared. Okay. So. Not working. It didn't work. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Heather Stetcher, and I was one of the thousands of Ottawans who have spent the last 3 years pushing the city government to bring in a low-income bus pass. Yesterday, it was announced by the mayor in the draft budget that we will, in fact, as of on April, have a low-income bus pass, which will be called the Equipass. It will be $57 a month, and it is costing the city government about $2 million and change. So my question is, all of us who have been pushing the city government were asking for a price of $41.75, the same price as the community pass, which those of us on OBSP pay. My question is, will you support, when it comes to provincial government, if you're elected, the provincial government giving the city government the other $1 million to bring the price from $57 a month down to $41.75.
Thank you. We are, I think we're back to Mr. Malay.
You made a very, very good point, and I agree to support doing that. I think the provincial government, under the progressive conservatives, would support that. And I would fight for it very much because I think that the amount is small and it benefits an underprivileged sector of society. And that's just what the progressive conservative stands for in 2016.
Well, your question is pretty much an NDP question. Of course we support that, there's no question. But again, in all respect to Natalie, if the Liberal government can waste $1.2 billion on a gas plant, we surely can afford $1 million to help our
Yes, I think you make a good point. I agree. I think it supports the community engagement, supports good, healthy way, and it's supporting active citizens. So I can say that this sounds like a no-brainer to me. Thank you.
I also agree. We recognize the value of offering tax credits to the people. We would offer mobility and to get to their work, and also shelter for people who live below the poverty line.
Sir?
Hey. Energy East Pipeline. Ecology Ottawa released a report that identifies how the groundwater, surface water will be affected. I won't go into these details. I've contacted the Ministry of the Environment and I've requested for an opinion of the government about this particular report. I am told everybody at the Ministry of Environment is muzzled, cannot speak, cannot review, cannot give comments, and everything has to be funneled to the Ministry of Energy. You're talking about transparency and you're talking about open questions. Where do we go to get the answers?
Fundraisers. Liberal
The
fundraisers.
Ministry of Environment is the entity that provides that service.
I have not heard about that, and that's a good question. I'll bring it up. That doesn't sound right to me. So.
Well, that's the fact.
It's typical of the Wynne government to keep stuff under wraps. It seems to be her obligation. Certainly guaranteed An NDP government wouldn't operate that way, and you would have the information you need. So as far as I'm concerned, even the way transportation or transport costs have been put into our hydro, we don't even know what it is. It's been buried into our bills. So that's typical of the government. So you're going to government. When I go to Queen's Park, I'll make it happen.
This is a tired old government. They've been in power for 13 years. They don't feel they have to respond to you or to any of your concerns in Ottawa Vanier on any level. I know the Liberal candidate has missed half the debate so far, including a very important one on healthcare. So it's just, it's more of the same. And they won't change until the government is changed. But what will happen is if I'm elected, I will hold the Liberals' feet to the fire.
I also obviously disagree with the muzzling of scientists. We are a party who relies on facts, and we will not be bought out by unions or corporations. So we would make our best to make information available to the public, because we believe that decisions should be based on information.
Hello, my question is for actually all the candidates. What are you going to do for people with intellectual disabilities that are on ODSP to help us get more money on ODSP?
Well, again, we're going back to healthcare cuts that have happened in under the Wynne government. As I said, there's been all right. There's been systematic cuts to our healthcare, and as far as I'm concerned, again, the NDP would ensure. Remember that healthcare was started with the NDP under the CCF, and it's something that's dear to our hearts. So we'll ensure that funding will be there, and that we will ensure that people with handicaps are looked after.
Yeah. And I think we want to ensure that not only people with disabilities are full participants, that they have more employment opportunities, that they have the appropriate support to contribute fully. And this is actually the way in which the commitment is designed, is to ensure full participation on transport, on citizenship, on employment, and having good housing that is well supported.
If required. So no taxes are paid if you fall below the poverty line, and we would also assist you in for needs such as mobility to find work and shelter, and we would work with you.
I think it comes back to the mental health cuts that have been made by the Liberal government, which speaks out of both sides of their mouth. The Royal Ottawa Hospital lost 18 jobs in 2015 and has a budget shortfall of $4.2 million. We've had consistent cuts in healthcare, 1,400 nurses let go last year, $815 million cut from physicians' fees, $50 million cut from physiotherapy for long-term care homes. The list goes on, and that eventually is felt by the citizens. So those cuts and emphasize the importance of medical care and social services in Ottawa Vanier.
Je voulais répondre. I wanted to answer this because indeed there's been 3,000 nurses that have been hired over the last year. There certainly has been continued investment in healthcare, and it's interesting to have the Conservative candidate talk about spending more money on healthcare, where the last time they were going to close Montreal and close hospitals. So I think we have to put that a little bit in perspective.
Sir?
Hello. My name is Rael Laverne. I've been living in Vanier for 35 years. I voted in every municipal, provincial, and federal election since then. I don't think I have ever voted for a candidate where my vote served to elect a candidate from the party of my choice. So I basically wasted my vote for 35 years. I'd like to know, with the work on electoral reform being done at the federal level, if you'd be interested in working on that issue provincially, so that the next time I vote will count.
Oui, c'est un dossier qui m'intéresse beaucoup. As you know, for me, I was the president of the law commission that recommended that electoral reform be effected. That I've always been active as a Fair Vote, a member of Fair Vote. So certainly, it's a dossier qui me tient à cœur.
I think that's an excellent question. We fully agree with you. Obviously, coming from the Green Party, we do have a lot of support, but people just don't want to waste their vote, and that's hurtful and it's counterproductive. We just had a recent example in the States. More people voted for Hillary, but yet Trump still won. That's counterproductive. So I think we should follow the lead in the province of PEI, and I think it would serve everybody right. If people want to vote conservative or liberal or green, then they should have the same number of seats in the parliament.
Drain the swamp.
I think it's a very important point you made. Every vote should count. And it's certainly something I would be prepared to commit to studying further, because I think the point is very valid.
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I think that one thing that needs to happen is I do support reform. The NDP have been talking about proportional representation for a number of years now, and that's something that needs to be looked at and that we are going to continue to work on.
Merci. Bonsoir. Ma question s'adresse à André Marin, mais vous êtes tous bienvenus d'y répondre. Quels moyens entendez-vous prendre pour faire baisser le prix de l'électricité?
La solution la plus simple, c'est d'arrêter de produire des usines de production d'électricité. L'énergie verte, il y a des contrats pour produire de l'énergie verte qui ont été signés jusqu'à il y a quelques semaines. Finalement, les libéraux ont décidé d'arrêter de signer ces contrats-là. Le Parti progressiste conservateur, pour longtemps, demande que les libéraux arrêtent de signer ces contrats-là. On a un excès qui est tellement élevé qu'on doit payer les États-Unis pour prendre l'excès d'électricité de nos mains. C'est un système qui est ridicule, qui n'a jamais été complètement pensé et réfléchi. Si on conserve l'électricité, on paye plus parce que les compagnies d'électricité perdent de l'argent. On consomme plus, puis on paye plus. Donc, on est dans un pétrin. Le Parti progressiste conservateur tentera de réouvrir ces ententes-là qui ont été déjà signées, puis voir est-ce que ça nous coûterait plus cher d'annuler les contrats que de continuer à investir lorsqu'on n'a pas besoin de cette électricité-là.
C'est une bonne question, puis aussi, c'est quoi qu'on veut faire? C'est certain que le Parti néo-démocrate va arrêter la privatisation de notre hydro. C'est inacceptable, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé. Et aussi, présentement, on a travaillé pour baisser les taux d'hydro par 15%, ce qu'on était un succès, mais on essaie de faire certain que ça va être permanent. Ça a été annoncé, mais ça n'a pas été dit que ça va être permanent. Alors, nous, ce qu'on va faire, c'est faire certain que, je suis d'accord avec André, que s'il y a une façon de canceller ces contrats, je sais que ça va coûter de l'argent. On a juste à regarder qu'est-ce qui s'est passé avec les gaz plants, 1,2 billion. Alors, on va regarder ça sérieusement.
C'est criminel!
Just to be clear, certainly I think we should be happy that at least we're off coal. You know, this was an important decision. brownouts and blackouts and was relying on coal. The movement to get off coal was probably in the best interest of the province. We now have, because it not only creates a cleaner air, cleaner energy, no fog, it also allows some savings on the healthcare costs. We are where we are, and certainly there's lots of improvement that can be done. I've no doubt about this. I am just, Mr. So you know that there is certainly the 8% is a permanent.
Here's where we are, right here. Here's where we are. Can I answer?
Stop heckling people.
Sorry. I'm gone. No questions about hydro, no questions about debt, no questions about scandals. These are the only questions that the people bring up. You ask 8 questions, and not one of them is about hydro, debt, or scandals.
These questions
It's
were
a joke.
submitted, sir,
They
by
were
the
submitted by these
organizing.
people. They've been talking all night together. It's a joke.
Fair enough. Your position, sir, your decision.
What a joke.
Well,
Ontario, yours to recover.
Monsieur Morin, vous avez pas eu l'occasion de répondre à cette question-là. Je ne sais pas si on parlait du prix de l'électricité, qu'est-ce qu'on pourrait faire pour le faire baisser.
Oui, je n'ai pas une réponse directe. Par contre, je comprends qu'il y aurait peut-être une hausse du prix de l'électricité durant les 10 prochaines années. Ça serait en dessous des rénovations nucléaires. Alors, encore une fois, nous sommes contre les rénovations nucléaires parce que ça nous coûte beaucoup trop d'argent.
Shoot, it's working. My question is for Andre Marin. I've been an admirer of yours as an uncompromising defender of the public good. It's the uncompromising part that I'm beginning to have some worries about. I've heard a lot about why you're against Liberal government. I'd like to hear why you're for what you stand for and what changes you would bring to this community, not why we shouldn't vote for Liberal government. What do you say?
Well, when I looked at the possibility of joining politics, of getting involved in politics, I looked at the 3 political parties, and you have the Liberal and the NDP who are fighting to be the most socialist party in Ontario. The Liberals keep making decisions that are typical of a right-wing government, like privatizing the public access, public utility, being hydro one. So I decided to join the PC party because Patrick Brown has repositioned the party to the center as a socially progressive, fiscally responsible party, which we do not have in the NDP. So I believe that that's where the future lies, in supporting healthcare expenses, supporting seniors, supporting social services, supporting the environment, but doing it in a way which will not bankrupt Ontario. Right now, the Auditor General said that if we continue with this path of hydro madness, you're looking at $170 billion expenditure for the next 30 years. I don't think we can do that. Ontario is now a have-not province. We receive a transfer payment from the feds. We should be a have province, not a poor province.
Before I take any question, could I ask you, if you want to talk amongst yourselves, to do it in the hallway, please, because out of respect for the answers that we're hearing here. Alors, si vous avez envie de parler entre vous, vous pouvez le faire, mais je vous demanderai de le faire dans le couloir pour qu'on puisse entendre les réponses des candidats. Monsieur.
Bonsoir, je m'appelle Michel. Si j'ai bien compris, vous laissez aux autorités locales le soin de décider de la question du bienvenue officiel à Ottawa. Si j'ai bien compris, vous laissez aux autorités locales le soin d'en décider au sujet du bienvenue officiel. Maintenant, êtes-vous d'avis que le caractère linguistique de la capitale du Canada ne concerne pas seulement le maire et les conseillers, surtout à la lumière de l'article 16 de la loi constitutionnelle de 1887, qui stipule qu'Ottawa sera le siège du gouvernement du Canada. Avant d'entreprendre la présente campagne électorale, avez-vous communiqué verbalement ou par écrit votre opinion à ce sujet aux maires et aux conseillers municipaux? Et qu'entendez-vous faire pour la suite si vous êtes élu. Merci.
Commencez avec M. Bisson.
Merci, Michel. Non, moi, ben honnête, je ne vais pas parler au maire ou au conseiller à date, mais j'ai passé mon message à travers le média et j'ai passé mon message aussi à travers le média social. C'est quelque chose que je crois qu'il devrait arriver. Ottawa devrait être une ville bilingue. Il n'y a pas de raison que ça ne devrait pas arriver. Alors, pour moi, on devrait commencer si je suis élu, je vais travailler avec le maire et aussi je vais travailler avec les conseillers pour essayer d'amener l'idée.
Interrogé.
Certainement, je me suis déjà exprimée sur la question. Moi, je pense que 2017, c'est l'année pour le faire et je vais continuer d'utiliser tout mon pouvoir et tout pour arriver à ce but-là.
Oui, moi aussi, j'ai déjà exprimé mes points de vue aux médias. Alors, je suis tout en fait d'accord avec vous, monsieur. Et puis, je travaillerai en concert avec le maire pour que la justice soit arrivée pour l'investissement.
Présenter un vide privé en tant que député. Un vide privé. C'est la seule façon.
Il y a 3 niveaux de gouvernement au Canada. Il faut que chacun donne du respect à leur autre niveau du gouvernement. Dans le cas ici de la ville d'Ottawa, on peut offrir une perspective, et c'est vraiment à la ville d'Ottawa de décider, de prendre une décision qui ensuite va être, qui va créer ensuite une occasion pour l'Assemblée législative de l'Ontario de remarquer des modifications à la loi sur la ville d'Ottawa. Donc, on peut exprimer notre opinion, mais c'est vraiment au conseiller de la ville de faire leur job, de remplir leur mandat, et puis ensuite, relancer la balle à l'Assemblée législative provinciale.
Hi, my name is Camille Labchuk, and I'm a lawyer focused on animal protection issues. My questions about animal protection and what you're going to do about it. We've got a province where there's millions of animals. There's more animals than people, in fact, in factory farms. We don't regulate zoos, and so roadside zoos are all over the place. The government has no way to shut them down. We don't regulate exotic animals, which poses a serious risk to public safety. And we've got these animal laws that do exist enforced by the Ontario SPCA, which isn't accountable to anybody because it's a private charity and has police powers, yet isn't subject to access to information legislation or other accountability mechanisms. So I'm wondering what you plan to do about this system because it needs some work.
Certainly, I think I remember being at when I was at the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, we investigated several aspects of the structure, the governance of the SPCA, its lack of transparency at times, and I agree that this is a good issue to be brought tonight on the to-do list for the next 2 years.
Thank you for your question, Kate. So this is an issue that is very important to me because we all talk about social equity, social justice. Yet if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everybody would be vegetarian. Factory farming is devastating for our planet. It's the #1 driver to climate change, as a matter of fact. It's taking a lot of land, and it's producing a lot of greenhouse gases. It pollutes our waterways. The conditions for the animals, just look it up, it's atrocious. Nobody would agree with it. Yet the government subsidizes it. That's not fair. So I would work with organizations to see what's needed. How can we update legislation? And I would say no to factory farming because it's killing us, and it's also unhealthy for your bodies. We talk about healthcare. Yeah, we eat meat and dairy. Do we know what's in meat and dairy? There's a lot of stuff. There's antibiotics that are creating superbugs. Superbugs is going to kill us. We should not be eating animal products that have antibiotics.
Thank you.
Yes, great question. I would strongly support a review of the animal protection laws in Ontario. They've been developed piecemeal. They consume financial resources, public resources, and yet have no oversight. And so this is an area that is in dire need of a full review top to bottom, because it is, pardon the pun, a dog's breakfast.
Hey, Camille, yeah, no, I echo the same thoughts. We need to look at what's going on, look at our laws, ensure that they're adhered to. We also need to ensure that the provincial government follows up on any situations that occur as far as animal cruelty or abuse of animals. So as far as I'm concerned, it's something that we would look at for sure, and see what we can do to, well, I don't want to use the word policing, but monitor what's going on our farms and in our zoos and so on and so forth.
Yes, my name is Peter Garrow, and I'm the father of a spec ed student at Rideau High. We are facing the Ottawa Carleton District School Board Senior Staff recommendation to close Rideau High. Rideau High School is a community hub for our entire area and beyond. It houses an important preschool for over 40 children and has for 26 years. Indigenous programs, Métis, Inuit, Cree, etc. Over 400 high school day students, grade 9 to 12, and over 300 link students. New refugees and families. As an MPP candidate, how do you plan, or do you plan, to help us support and save Rideau High School?
Yes, I would certainly help for Rideau Hall and the Center to stay present. I have first-hand experience. My sister has Down syndrome, and I understand the difficulties that she lives. I believe that everybody should receive the adequate services to fulfill their dreams, and I do not think that they should be left to fall in the cracks.
As the Ontario Ombudsman, I conducted 2 systemic investigations into first children with special needs, and then more recently adults with special needs. It's a very complicated topic, and one that has lacked compassion by so-called compassionate liberals who have neglected yet again this area of social services. We are opposed to the closure of the school, and I will fight as MPP everywhere I can to protect social services and schools that are there to provide services to children with special needs. It is an extremely sensitive and important area of public policy, but once again, one neglected by the liberals.
I was approached by someone about that, about Rideau School.
That would be me.
There we go, you. And I've done some looking into it, and what I found, and I was really surprised, the French School Board is looking at building a new school and yet closing Rideau. Why not use the infrastructure that's there right now rather than build new schools? The other thing is, and we've discussed that, is in my neighborhood, small school in Carson Grove, they've got portables up to accommodate somewhere around 117 children that have come in from Syria. So why not use the infrastructure that we have? I know Rideau School is currently at 41% capacity, and I think that's the issue they have. But that's the issue that needs to be worked on, and I think that it just comes down to properly managing our schools and managing the students that we need to bring to the schools. I know there are 43 different languages spoken in that school, so for sure it's critical and it's important to our community. So I do support keeping the school open.
You reach out to me as well because we met on the doorstep.
That would also be me.
That's it. And also I've spoken to other parents. I understand the fight. I think it's important to continue that fight. It's not the first time that the Rideau High School has been threatened by closure, but I think with good information and support, I think moral support that we can say, because there's lots of solutions that could be brought to the school board to maybe respond better to the management of students. You know, moving grades 7 and 8 to create a greater capacity of, fulfill the school. That's done in the French system. It could be done here. There's also the issue of better support for students with disability. This is a big fight. Been involved in it before. We need to continue to work on this.
I want to ask what you would do to address the foundational causation of overloading healthcare systems, the police system, and cost to taxpayers as a result of the inadequacy of support systems for Indians and Inuit and multi-generation welfare people in the community. We have Ontario Works that doesn't work because it provides just $10 a day per person in cash and no incentives to do anything. We have a correction service that doesn't correct. We have a third world standard jail out in Innis Road, which is a disgrace even by international standards.
Monsieur Marais.
You raised a lot of issues regarding social services, and a lot of the areas you mentioned have been neglected by the 13-year-old Liberal government. A perfect example is the situation in our correctional system, where solitary confinement has been abused and re-abused, and whether it's the case of the man who was held in solitary confinement for 4.5 years with the lights on in Thunder Bay, when the United Nations considers more than 15 days to be torture.
4 days.
You look here at the Innis Detention Center is a good example of neglect, and there seems to be no overarching systemic approach to make sure that inmates as well as correctional officers are treated properly in the system, and it's one that's, again, has been neglected by the Liberals, and I fail to understand why a party that wants to be socialist can't respond to that.
I have to agree with you. I took the time and actually read Correctional Services mission statement. It talks about reforming people. It talks about trying to helping people to reintegrate into society. That's not what's happening, and we all know that. What Andre just mentioned about the fellow that was kept in solitary confinement for 2 years is inexcusable. So I think what we need to do is have more oversight with correctional services that they actually follow their mandate and mission statement.
For 4 years.
4 years, there you go.
4 years.
They were notified every month about that detention.
The
Attorney General.
Yeah, I stand before you, feeling outraged. This, Canadian Civil Liberties Association has been advocating for the end of segregation, and that has been a life work for me. Indeed, I think before I decided to put my name, I looked at the mandate letters from the Premier to the different minister to look at what was intended to do. And on the template, I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the other issues that we haven't talked tonight, violence against women among them. But one of them is oversight of prison, and this is something I care about. I care about oversight of police, and I think that the ending, we have to reform the bail system. That's also on the la table, on the to-do list. This is very important. I want to be there to ensure that it's done properly.
I also recognize that crime is a problem, so I think I would adopt an approach that would treat the problem rather than the symptom. So we would provide more adequate funding, as I said earlier, for diversion of programs for youth, addiction treatment centers, reduction facilities and safe injection sites. I think that working with the people, the victims, I think that's a sustainable approach, and I think it would benefit everybody.
No, it's absolutely shocking that someone can be kept in solitary confinement for 4.5 years, thank you for the correction, and that the minister inquired about him, met him through the plexiglass, but when it became public, couldn't remember meeting this person. Now, how many people do we have in Ontario in solitary confinement for 4.5 years? How can the minister credibly claim he couldn't remember? Will the candidate for Ottawa Vanier here this evening on the panel, will she commit to raising that issue directly with Yazir and Advi, the minister whose memory appears to be fading when it's convenient?
Oui,
On vous a quand même interpellé directement dans
oui, c'est ça. Certainement, c'est déjà fait. C'est un enjeu qui m'importe.
Hello, my question is about hydro again, but not prices, it's about consumption. Because obviously if we consume less, our bills will not go up, that's my case, so I'm not complaining about the price. But obviously it didn't happen just like that, I had to work hard to have a much more efficient house than I had 5 years ago. So my question is, what are you going to do about the houses that are, someone owns it, they rent it out to a business, let's say, as you mentioned, they stand around in their overcoat because they can't afford to heat it. Well, what incentives are you going to give to the owner of the house? Because they are not paying the hydro, so they don't have any incentive at the moment, I don't think, to make it better unless it's on their conscience. What are you going to help besides helping the tenant? Yes, but that doesn't mean the owner will do anything. Thank you.
Well, really, you sort of touched on two things, and that's really landlords and how landlords manage their buildings and how they manage the homes and apartments that people live in. So definitely there needs to be some oversight. There's definitely a move to start to actually put licensing on landlords to ensure that that buildings are actually managed properly, not just for hydro, but also for vermin, cockroaches, you name it, right? So I think our citizens need something, and we need some oversight, and that needs to be done.
I think that's a definite issue about, if you talk about a true right to housing, you need to increase the oversight in the way in which it's being managed and the way in which the Landlord Tenant Act has been approached. I think there are some incentive for owners to green their houses. They may not be sufficient, they may not have been applied properly, but I think we need to continue to look at this issue for sure.
Thank you for your question. I do find this is an interesting perspective. So the Green Party of Ontario would expand the home renovation tax credit to create incentives for individuals and companies to make their homes and businesses more efficient and accessible for installing high efficient insulation, solar heating, electricity, energy efficient appliances, and accessibility upgrades. We would unleash an army of carpenters and electricians and contractors to take outdated and leaky public buildings such as schools, universities, and hospitals and plug these leaks that increase the greenhouse gas costs. And these would reduce the carbon emissions by about 30% nationwide.
We can talk about finding solutions to the consequences of having high electricity bills. In fact, the highest in North America, even higher than Hawaii. In Ontario, we pay 3 times more than Quebec, twice as much as Manitoba. And we don't just give away the electricity to the U.S., we actually pay the U.S. to take electricity off our hands. So what you're suggesting through your question has merit. And many other suggestions have merits on how to cope with this incredible legacy of mismanagement of electricity by Kathleen Wynne. But we need to attack the root of the problem. The root of the problem is a system that has crippled small business, that has meant that people who use electricity have to decide whether to eat or heat their homes. It is the worst managed electrical system that I can think of. It was designed without any kind of thought. So yes, there are a lot of things that we can do to fix the ill, but why not fix the source of the problem? These outrageous skyrocketing hydro bills.
So it's not true that we have the highest hydro rates in North America. So in any, but that doesn't mean that we should not do something about it, and that's what we've been talking about. Lots of good suggestions. I think we're continuing to work on the issue. I think it's important to remember that we moved from a system that had blackouts, brownouts, and that was based on coal. And this has to be taken into account and I agree, we have to see where we're going. And I think I have a good plan to see where in 2025, for example, do we want to go and have some accountability around getting to that plan. I'm absolutely in favor of that.
I admire the Liberals for being shrewd and intelligent, but they're also incompetent. What they have done to the electricity system shows a complete lack of planning, leaping into the future without realizing what was ahead of them. $170 billion over 30 years. That's what the Auditor General said we're looking at unless we completely alter the course of how we're going on the electricity file.
Will you put an end to the practice of using public funds to subsidize in part or in all premiums to complementary health plans for public sector employees, including MPPs, which is another form of camouflage two-tier health care system?